The Necronomicon awaits.
A ritual must be performed.
Seems fairly obvious.
Batu, Murata.
I told you I would find you.
Nani?
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumping night.
It's showtime.
What's your name? What? What is your name?
We are men of misfortune.
Might as well get to introductions too for you. I mean,
Let's
ladies
do
and
it.
gentlemen, you know, obviously things are getting crazy and professional around here. We're becoming big boys. Things are happening, and we have here with us somebody very special. You might know him as Old Joe from Breaking Bad. You might know him from our personal favorite. And we were talking about this literally before you came on here.
Dude,
Charlie's Butts. I literally watched the movie yesterday as well. Again,
I love Escape from Alcatraz.
That was awesome.
Escape from Alcatraz.
Yes,
classic.
Sir. Yes, sir. I thought your line with I can't believe I just met Al Capone. It fucking killed me. It fucking killed me, man.
I don't see. I remember the movies. I remember the people in the movies, but I don't remember any of my lines. And most of the fans do. That's what they remember. These particular lines. So I don't remember that one, but that's a great line,
dude.
I
love
awesome.
Like
it was hilarious.
So when we started doing research about you,
well, wait a minute. Let me ask you a question about that.
Absolutely.
Okay. That it comes back to me now. That was in the yard.
Yes.
And that short
Yes. Absolutely.
He said, I said, who are you? I said, Charlie Butts. And he said, he's Al Capone. And then I said, I can't believe it.
I can't believe I just spoke to Al Capone. And Clint Eastwood looks at you and says, I can't either. And I honestly, I love that scene. It honestly, when we started researching you, we wanted to find something that spoke to us. I mean, we've seen your classics. We've seen Billy Madison. We've seen Friends. We've seen Seinfeld. We've seen Breaking Bad,
Yep.
El Camino. We've seen it all. And when I saw that movie, because I had no idea about it, and I watched it, and I love your acting. I loved everything about that movie. I mean, I knew the story about the three men that had actually escaped. But when it came down to your role, I was heartbroken by the end of it. I mean, it was pretty
good.
touching.
I planned that.
Good.
I was hoping for that.
Good.
That's awesome.
I do have a question for you as well. Of course, I mean, I'm just curious as well for you, and talking past all of the accomplishments and everything else that has happened in your life as well as an actor and a comedian. What would you say? And I just feel like it's a good question to ask, but what would you say is your like breakout role? What do you think really like pushed you forward in the industry for yourself?
Well, that's it. Well, we got to get into the definition of breakout role. Generally, breakout. The word breakout. The word breakout generally meant a great role that brought you to the attention of the people. You know, it's a groovy thing. Breakout, groovy. But to me, breakout just means, and this I'll answer the question, is Mr. Heckles and Friends, is it just made me famous, but I was around for a long time and a well-known actor. And a lot of people still don't know my name, but they know my characters and stuff. So it's Mr. Heckles, I would have to answer honestly, would be on Friends, because that's a world that goes around the world. That sitcom. That's probably one of the biggest sitcoms on earth.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's widely famous around many countries.
A breakout role. I mean, to me, the breakout role was Escape from Alcatraz, and that was one of the first movies that I ever made. I was a young man, and I didn't know what the hell was going on. I mean, I had no concept of what acting was.
Can I ask real quick? How did you put yourself in the situation where you were actually being a part of this movie? Did you just go to an audition one day that you were interested in, or like what kind of led you to that?
No, I was in a way, I was like forced to go to the audition.
Really?
And then when they said Clint Eastwood, then I go, oh no, I'll go. But I was at home watching a football game or something, you know, and then I get a phone call, and it's my agent, and he said, "What are you doing right now?" That was his opening line. "What are you doing right now?" And I said, "I'm watching the game." And he goes, "Well, listen, Clint Eastwood has a big, huge tentpole movie coming up, and there's an audition, and you can get into the audition, but it's closing in an hour. And the audition is out in the valley, and I live near the beach, and that's an hour ride." So I didn't care about the tentpole or the movie because I was just getting standard, ordinary pay for whatever I did.
Right.
You know, I was just at a level. So it didn't matter, big movie, small movie, I get this amount of money. But I hadn't done many of the movies. I'd done sitcoms, so I didn't really pay any attention. When he was saying Clint Eastwood, I got in my car, I jumped out of the apartment, and I just lead-footed it down there. I mean, I was speeding down on the floor.
Just hauling ass.
When I got there, my first question was to my agent. He said, "You know, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, okay, what is my part? What am I going to audition for?" And he said, we don't know. They said there's just 2 openings. Mm-hmm. They didn't say what, so they'll tell you when you get there. So that's the first red flag.
That's how you know.
Yeah, that's not a good sign. When they don't know, it's like a really small role. It's a throwaway role, and I'm used to getting parts in sitcoms or even in small movies where somebody just got fired and I'm the go-to guy. So that doesn't thrill me. You know, why didn't they call me in the first fucking place?
Yeah, a last resort, basically, almost.
So when I got there, you know, there's nobody there. So immediately, there's no other people auditioning. It was, and that's, again, the second red flag. Yeah. That means that somebody got fired and I'm there to fill in, and it's a small part, you know. So I wasn't thrilled at all, and the aura of Clint Eastwood was very slowly dimming.
Yeah, I could imagine. Well, this was around too the time like for Clint Eastwood when because I saw Escape from Alcatraz because my dad showed me so many of like the spaghetti westerns and stuff like that, and this was like the booming time for it. So I guarantee when you heard like Clint Eastwood. Hour, you were like, this is last minute, but also this is like the time for it because it was right when everything.
Well, yeah, he was at his height then. That's why they gave him the money for that movie.
Oh, yeah.
That cost a lot of movie.
I can
a
imagine.
lot of money.
Yeah.
So when I got there, I asked around. I mean, I'm in a big room, an empty room. It's big, way about 4 times as big as your room. Blank, nothing in the room. Yeah. Just blank floor, blank walls, and there was a secretary and a lot of seats for a lot of actors waiting to get auditioned, but there was nobody in there, just a secretary. So I went to the secretary and I said, you know, she said, "What are you here for?" I just sat down. And she said, "What are you here for?" I mean, she was like, "What's going on?" She didn't know. She didn't know that. That's what?
I said, what are you doing here right now? Pretty much like confusion.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I was an interloper or something because nobody was supposed to be there. That was the kind of message I was getting from her. She said, "Well, what are you doing here?" I said, "Well, something, Escape from Alcatraz, a Clint Eastwood movie." "Yeah, what about it?" So I got an audition. Do you have? I'm here for an audition. They said they would tell me what the audition is for. When I got here, do you know anything about that? No. No. Well,
knife in the heart, right
more
there.
Red flags.
Oh.
Do you have any kind of scripts or anything for me? So she says, "Well, we have a screenplay." I go, "Okay, give me the screenplay. Do you know what?" And she said, "No." So the screenplay didn't do. I can't read 90 pages. No.
Yeah.
You know, while I'm sitting there and go over it. So I just like blew it off, man. I just want to go home now. Yeah. At this point, I want to go home. So I'm sitting there with the script in my lap. I'm not going to read it. It's ridiculous. So that's my mind frame, my space going in. And then this door opens up And this lady, this nice lady, gray-haired lady, she says, "Are you ready now?" No, are you Larry Hankin? Yes. Are you ready? And I go, "Yeah."
Sure, let's do this.
Might as well.
Let's just get this over with right now. Back to the game. So I go in, and they said that Clint Eastwood was going to be at the audition. So that was another reason for me to lead-foot it. Wow, man, I'm going to meet, And so if I don't get the part, at least I meet Clint Eastwood.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I get in the room, and then there's just two people in the room, obviously a director, a gray-haired gentleman, and this gray-haired lady. And she was the casting director, a big deal because it's a Clint Eastwood movie. And I assumed the director was a big deal because it's a Clint Eastwood movie, but I don't know who he was. Don Siegel, but who is amazing, but I didn't know who he was. So I'm ready to blow this whole thing off. It's just two old people going to audition me for something I don't even care about anymore. Yeah. So what was going through my head and my attitude sitting down in an empty room with three chairs facing one another. So I was as close as you guys to them, three guys. I was that close. And the director, Don Siegel, who turned out to be an amazing guy, read me right away. He knew exactly who I was, and what part he wanted me for and why. But he didn't tell me that. He just kept his mouth shut, and he said, "What part are you here for?" And I said, "I don't know, man."
I just drove an hour. I just decided, why not?
Why not try out for this?
I just showed up, and then he says, "Well," and he turns to her, and now they're talking in front of me like I'm not there.
Oh, God.
Which really peed me off.
You can swear as much as you want on this show.
So he goes, "Well, what do we have?" And she says, "Well, there's only two parts left, and that's the guard and Charlie Butts." And he goes, "Well, what about they're talking to each other, well, what about the guard?" And he says, "Well, I don't think he can do the guard." No. And she looks at me, and then she looks at him, and she says, "No, he can't do the guard because first of all, the guard was fired last night." Aha, that's why I was here.
I see now.
Oh, no.
He was fired last night, and we've already replaced him. So that's out. So he looks at me, and he says, wait a minute. Larry, the guard. The guard is the guard that beats up Clint Eastwood. You think you can beat up Clint Eastwood? And I go,
No.
No. And he goes, of course. And he goes, "Yeah, I didn't think so." No. Okay. So how about you want to do Charlie Butts? And I go, "I don't know who CharlieUtz is."
They're just kind of throwing you to the wolves there, huh?
He sees the script I have is on the table. Well, it's in my lap. There's no table. Yeah. He's in my lap. So he says, "Okay, I tell you what." And he picks up he's got a script over there. So he picks up his script. He says, and he turns the page. He says, "Okay, turn to page 78. I'll read with you. We'll just do one page. You want to go outside and rehearse and get your head together?" And I go, "No, let's just do it. I just want to get out of there.
Just run through it."
I said, "No, let's just read it." No. So he says, "Okay, fine." So he goes, "Okay, I'm gonna you be Charlie and I'll be the other guy." So we go blah 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 blah. He says, "Okay, fine, you got the part." And I go, and I just sat there. I didn't do anything. I just stared at him because they never tell you that. I mean, I've been in auditions all my life, man. Never has any person ever said you got the part in the audition. They just don't do it.
What was that feeling like? What was that feeling like for you? Like,
I didn't believe him, and he read that right away. He said, "You don't believe it, do you?" I said, "No, I don't. I mean, I just was pissed, and I wanted to get out of there."
Yeah.
And he said, "All right, I'll tell you what you do. You go home, get out of here right now. Get out of here, go home, sit by the phone, see what happens. Now, get out of here." And he goes like that, "Get out of here." And he smiled when he said it. He said, "But get out of here." So I said, "Okay." And I just left. And I drove home, and I got to my apartment and I sat by the phone. About 10 minutes later, my agent says, "Hey, man, you got the part." I said, "Okay, fine." So I'm getting a paycheck. I'm going to be in this movie. But it was a small part. I thumbed through I kept the script. I thumbed through it while I was sitting there. It's a small part. Okay, the reason I'm telling you guys that is because I'll skip to the end.
Oh, I'm ready.
They
for
had
this.
a cast screening. Okay, there's this cast screening. Okay, so I go to the cast screening. It's about a couple of months later. I've done 3 months on the movie. All I did was hang out and bother people because I'm curious and I want to know how you make a 10-pole movie. So I was following around Don Siegel like a puppy. I was following around Clint Eastwood because I was in the movie. I was always in every scene with him. So I wanted to get to make him used to me, and I wanted to get used to being with him, you know, even in front of the camera. So I was a big joke, you know. All right, cut to the end of the film. I go see the movie, and the credits come up, and it's this co-starring Larry Hankin.
Ooh, that had to have felt good seeing that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So much for a small role, right?
Nobody told me that. No, nobody. I wasn't. I didn't know. I had no idea, man. My agent didn't tell me that, or I had to go to a screening to see that. So meanwhile, as I said, Don Siegel knew that probably I'm going to give this kid co-star billing.
Yeah.
From my audition, because I was so naive. I mean, my anger was because I didn't know what was going on, and that's what he read. Not my anger, but this guy doesn't know what the hell is going on. And he read that because through the whole audition, he kept on laughing at her. He could turn and go like that.
Who's this fucking guy?
Pissed me off, you know. And I thought they're making fun of me, which in a way. He kind of was, but he said, this guy is perfect to be the guy with Clint all the time.
Yeah.
So because I was with Clint all the time, I was on the set. And even when I didn't have to go, because it was on an island, and every morning we had to get up at 6 a.m. to catch the boats. It was
Wait,
10
so you guys actually filmed on Alcatraz?
Oh, yeah, 3 months. I was on Alcatraz.
How was that? I mean,
I've been
it was
there.
fucking incredible, man.
I was going to say, that had to have been amazing.
When I
seeing
wasn't
that kind of
working,
history.
I would go to, because it was a tentpole movie, a big, expensive movie, I could get anything I want. And they had, Warner Brothers had taken the prop department and shipped it out to Alcatraz so they wouldn't have to go back and forth. It's boats, man. Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. So they shipped everything out there. So on the island, they had all their equipment and everything there. So I could go anytime I want to the prop department and ask for anything. And because they knew who my part was, that I could ask for anything and say, yeah, it's in the scene. I'm using it in the scene. And they would just give it to me. In any other movie, under any other circumstances, for any other part, no, I would have to have permission. I'd have to have a note. They would have to call down. Is that okay? You know, should we give them batteries in the flashlight or not?
Oh, no.
A lot of red tape you had to cross, huh?
Well, but on Alcatraz, because of things I didn't know about, but were part of Charlie Butts's
his origin, I guess.
Going on, yeah. I could do anything I want, and people said okay. I mean, and I didn't understand that, but I just used it. So I went to the prop department. I said, give me a flashlight, make sure there's batteries in it. And he goes, what do you want it for? And I said, it's in the scene. And I said, okay. And he says, okay. And he gives me a flashlight. So I kept the flashlight for the entire run. And anytime I had time on my hands, sometimes there was hours and hours between my shot and what they're doing, I would explore Alcatraz. And one day I got all the way down to the not even the cellar. I got below the cellar. I got onto the island underneath Alcatraz.
That sounds amazing.
Where the Indians were in the 60s when they had that big sit-in, and they had paintings all over the walls, man. It was incredible. I think I was the only
talk about things to
see.
see. Like, that would just be an incredible time.
Oh, it was amazing. And the thing was, I was standing on the island. There was dirt on my feet, and there was pylons, and the ceiling was a cement ceiling. And this wall that I came out of, this door that I opened into this darkness, it just went on for miles. It seemed to me. I shined the flashlight out into the darkness. It never hit anything but pylons into the darkness. And so I followed this one wall because there's no lights down there. And I knew I was underneath the Alcatraz. I was just afraid it was going to cave in. But the Indians had painted these walls, and there was smoke on the walls. You know, this black kind of film. It was smoke. So they had been burning stuff down there. Probably for light to paint these paintings of horses and teepees and cops. In cop cars.
They were playing cops and robbers like 100 years ago.
It was like, you know, I was like a Neanderthal cave, and they were putting their handprints up. I mean, I said, holy cow, these natives are painting on walls underneath the most famous prison on earth. Also, it is.
Yeah. Like it's nothing. Like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Harry Potter has.
I mean, it was just a trip, man. I'm sorry to go off on
that. No, it's fine. We love to hear it, man.
We love the
process. It's just amazing.
I would just like to say, kind of moving on, like, you know, it's so funny that you saw yourself in such a small role in that film, because from an outsider's perspective, like just watching it for the first time, you were such a pivotal figure in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let me just explain that. Yeah, but what the reason, and probably the reason why it was okay to put my, you know, co-starring, was I would go whether I was on or not, whether I was shooting that day or not. So in 3 months, there was a lot of days I wasn't working. But every day that I wasn't working, I would put on my uniform, which is just a blue shirt and jeans.
Yeah.
That was all. And black shoes and
prison
white
outfit.
socks. That was all. So I would go in every morning. I would go in it. I would get up at 6 o'clock, go down and go in on the boat. And I wasn't shooting, but I would watch Don Siegel. I literally did follow him around like a little dog. I mean, I just kept on asking him questions after questions, because that guy is amazing. He's
it's your first major role in a movie. I mean, like like we talked about in the beginning. Yeah. It's your breakout role. It's something that like that major career the way it is.
Well, I guess it got me a lot of parts, but when I went in, so to follow the thought of the question was, because I was there every day, and because I was on the set every day, because I was curious and watching, Don Siegel would throw me into every scene he could. That's why I think he's so brilliant.
That's so
I mean, he would say, "Hey, Larry, come here." And I go, "Well, what? Get in that scene. Get in your cell." I go, "Why?" I need somebody in the cell. What am I doing? It doesn't matter. Just get in the fucking cell.
Just get the fuck in there, man.
It attracted you to like be a main character of that movie, because there's so many shots with you in that movie where we sit there and we see Charlie Butts. He's tapping on the window. Hey, come on. The guards are coming. Guards are coming. Come on. Let's go. And then you sit there and you feel for him whenever he can't get out in time, and you.
Well, I think that's probably what Don Siegel saw.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't in the script. There's only one time. See, the thing is that Don Siegel has all directors have the entire movie, and the film shots in their head, so they know why they're putting me in. If Don Siegel says to me, "Get in there," I go, "What am I doing?" It doesn't matter. Just get in there. And I would run and I would say, how long do I have? And he said, 3 or 4 minutes to light it. I'd say, okay, I'll be right back. I would run to the prop department again. It was downstairs on the next floor. I would run downstairs and I would say, "Give me a checkerboard." And he'd go, "What do you want it for?" I said, "I'm playing checkers in myself." He said, "We don't have any checkerboards."
Find one.
Said, "Well, give me something." He said, "What about the chessboard?" I say, "Okay, give me a chessboard." Okay, so I would run back and he'd say, "Okay, get in the cell. So, in other words, and then I was playing chess in the cell there. It was just a background shot. Yeah. But when I asked him, I said, "Why am I in this shot?" Because I have to know. I'm an actor, you know. I have to know what my reason is. So he'd say, "Okay, I'm shooting a close-up of the warden and Clint Eastwood talking to one another in front of a cell. So this is a close-up on on their face, it's a choker. So he said, it's a side view. We're on tier C. Now, if you know about tiers, one side is the cell and the other side is a drop of 30 feet. It's 10 feet a tier. So it's a drop off. So if you're shooting into a cell, you have to get the camera off out into the air on a platform, shooting in, because then they're hanging out over the floor. So he said, when you have this and I'm shooting into a cell, he says, there's a hole here. I need a person in there to fill that hole. And that's you. So when I got in there and I started playing chess and he does the first take, he goes, okay, cut. He says, Hankin, come here. So I come out of the cell and I go over to him and I said, what? He said, what the hell are you doing in there? So I said, I'm playing checkers. He says, you got a chessboard in there.
Well, that's all they had.
So I said, yeah, but Charlie Butts went to the Alcatraz prop department and asked for checkerboards, and they were all out. So he took a chessboard, and I'm playing checkers with a chessboard because I don't know how to play chess. That's Charlie. He says, oh. And I said, but I don't have to do that. He said, no, keep doing that. I just want to know what the hell you're doing.
It's like, just keep me in the loop, my guy.
So that is the reason why he kept putting me. In other words, he saw, well, no, this guy, Larry, is taking this part seriously. And so every time Clint was alone, he would put me in the scene with him. And that's why you guys, the audience, started seeing, oh, he's part of the movie. It's not in the script. Charlie Butts is in 3 or 4 scenes in the screenplay.
Holy shit. You were fucking throughout that entire movie.
I was going to say, you were such a big part of that movie from an outsider's perspective.
That's Don Siegel, not the writer.
My God.
And so it did me a big favor, and that's why I got
absolutely. Absolutely, it did.
Would you call it like, I mean, obviously, like you were following around the whole time as well. I mean, obviously, your commitment to the role, and I think the commitment of following like the ins and outs of everything, you think that like also like pushed yourself into that movie a lot harder, you think? Like that's where you
and also, while I was hanging around and asking him questions, we would have discussions, me and Don Siegel. So we became friends. I mean, when this movie was over, about 2 or 3 years later, we had dinner together, me and Don, and he wanted to direct a movie. He wanted me to be I had written a screenplay and I knew him. So 2 or 3 years later, I sent him the screenplay and he said, hey, I want to do this. And I said, great. And he said, who do you want to be the lead? And I said, well, I don't know, cast somebody. He said, well, you should do the lead. And they said, okay. So we were going to make a movie together, and then he passed away. So that was, So in other words, I didn't know I was bonding with Don, showing up every day. I was just curious and wanted to see how movies are made. And we just bonded because I was there. And so I got in the movie.
So I have a question for you. How much has changed from movies from the 1970s into now? Everything. I mean, pretty much.
If I started now, I wouldn't know. There's nothing that I could tell. If you guys wanted to be in movies today, there's nothing I could tell you that would help you because it's digital now.
So let me ask you this: what is the difference between working on something like Escape from Alcatraz to Breaking Bad? What is as far as the process?
Not much. Now that you bring it up, not much.
Larry, personally, I am one of the biggest Breaking Bad fans that I know. I have watched the whole series about 4 different times.
Me too.
I've always loved your role as Joe in that show. I think your scene with Hank and Walter and Jesse in the junkyard where you stop Hank from entering the RV. That is just one of the biggest. I don't know how to put it. It's just like you put a DEA agent in check to entering an RV. Like this guy was so close to coming. He was going to solve the Heisenberg crisis of the meth dealing in the South area of the United States. It was just insane. And you put your foot in there and you fucking nailed it, man. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little carried away with the explanation here. But
can I tell you a story about what you just?
Of course,
yes, absolutely. I'd love to hear about it. Would love to hear about it.
Even if I disappoint you?
Dude,
that's fine.
Disappoint
That's
away,
fine.
brother. We are here to hear about you, man.
Okay. I had two scenes I had two scenes to shoot that day. One in the morning and one in the afternoon. Now let me see. Okay. I only had one scene to shoot in the morning when I showed up for work. In other words, the afternoon shoot was made up that night and put in the morning. So I show up and I do the scene inside the Winnebago where I buy the Winnebago from Brian. It's inside the Winnebago.
Right.
I buy it from him. I go, yeah, right. And I walk away. Now I thought that scene was my best scene ever. If you look at it again, check it out. That's my best scene, my favorite scene. Okay. Brian thought it was really cool, and the director thought it was really cool because I didn't do anything. I didn't try to act. I just let it be. And that was exactly what was called for. And I treated him, Brian, the character, with disdain. Yeah, fine, right, yeah. Okay. And I just blew him off, and it was great. Okay. So I thought I'm finished. I did a good job. Okay, so I leave. I get to my dressing room to change clothes to go home, and there's another scene on my desk, and this is the keeping the cop out of the Winnebago.
Right.
So I look at it. It's a little. There's a little book. You get a little book to keep with you in case you need to refer to your lines. It's not a big page. It's a little thing that for actors. So I read this little thing, and it's an entire speech. It's a one-page soliloquy about keeping the cop out of the Winnebago, and it's all legalese, the legal reasons why he can't go.
Right, you were stating like Albuquerque state codes for investigating like a mobile home and stuff like that. It was so professional and so precise.
It was
You
crazy.
just killed it.
He lives in California, so like these role. I mean, this whole entire law is nothing compared to what he's used to, especially his role that he's playing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I got to tell you this now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have been dyslexic all my life. I am a
Me
dyslexic.
too.
He's so proud of that. He's so
too.
proud of that.
Say it, Tyler.
Maybe you know this. I have basically I have a little trouble reading.
Yes.
That's no big sweat. But I also have difficulty memorizing. Period.
My man,
Okay.
we were
He
speaking
gave
the same
me,
language.
as I said, a one-page soliloquy of legalese to a dyslexic. Okay?
I could imagine doing
So
that.
I immediately, now, up until then, I had done many sitcom roles and little small movies. And when I'm hired, my agent says to the people, Larry needs the script early because he has trouble memorizing lines. So if anybody gets the script first, Larry also gets that script. In other words, give it to him at the earliest time you can.
Yeah.
No big deal. Just he gets the earliest script too. Okay, and that's what goes on. And I always get it, and there's no big deal, and I memorize it, and it's fine. I got this at 12 noon, and I was going to shoot at 2.
Mm-hmm.
No, I can't do that. I know that.
The pressure's
I have a
on.
history.
The pressure's on.
So I just told, I lost it is basically what I did. I just go, no, I can't do this. And the AD who took me to my dressing room, he didn't know what was going on. What's the matter? I said, no, this is too long. I have to get it days in advance. And I was just like flipping out. I was having a nervous breakdown. And he just said, I got to get out of here, and he just left. So I said, how long do I have? And he says, 2 hours. And we split.
Oof.
So I said, no, I can't do it. So I tried to memorize what you guys are talking about, and I couldn't do it. Now, I've been in the committee in Second City, so I thought, okay, I'll improvise it.
Yep.
Cool. What a great idea. So, page of legalese. I'm going to improvise. Yeah, sure, Larry. Okay, so I tried 2 hours. I'm going over it and over it and over it. It's not happening. So Okay. I know. Then I figured out a way out.
Yeah.
So when he says, okay, you're up, it's 2 hours, okay. So I go out, and the director who's directed me in the morning, was fine, good shoot, She says, okay, Larry, you ready? And I go, yeah. He goes, okay. I said, wait a minute, okay, can I just say something? He goes, yeah. He says, I figured out how to direct this.
Mm-hmm.
You figured out how to direct this. I'm talking to the director now,
Yeah.
and he's looking at me, and he's going, you figured out how to direct this.
Say, that was Vince Gilligan, right? I believe.
No, it was some other guy.
Oh, okay. So,
you're like...
That was the creator for the show. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. Anyway, as you were saying.
There's Vince Gilligan, and there's other guys.
Gotcha.
Okay, he says, how are you going to direct this scene, Larry?
Mm-hmm.
So when they say your name, it's a red flag. It's not good. So he says, how are you going to direct this, Larry? And I said, well, we'll break it up. See, you cut to him, and you cut to me, then you cut to him, you cut to him, cut to me, and then I can. And I was figuring I could memorize sections while they were doing
parts by
that.
parts. Yeah.
Parts and parts. And he listens to me with great interest, and he goes, "No, we're going to just do it in one take."
Wow, jeez.
From one dyslexic to another.
Is that okay with you, Larry? Is that okay? And I go,
no.
Yeah, sure, that's fine. No, I will not cop to anything. Ever.
Right. Yeah.
I don't cop. I just don't. I'd rather be fired. So I said, oh, it's fine. He says, okay, get about 100 feet down there and just walk towards the camera and talk. Just walk and talk. And then there was a limo about 15 feet from the camera. We're on the dirt part of the junkyard, so there's a car there. Right. There's a limo there. So he says, we'll do one take, walk and talk, you get it down, and then you get in the limo. And we were in the middle of the desert, so it's about a 45-minute ride back to civilization. He says, you hop in a limo, and you're out of here, and you're all finished. One take. Okay, get down there. So I said, okay, fine. So I walk down because I'm going to improvise this. So I'm going to get down there, go down there. He says, you ready, Larry? Yeah. So I go, okay. I'm not copying. He says, okay, and action, Larry. So I start walking, and I had the first two lines memorized. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I said the first two lines, and I'm improvising. Now, all in my head is, don't go or stutter.
Or like.
You have to slow down. But keep a flow. That's it. And just improvise legalese. Whatever you can remember from that, or whatever you can pick up from the air. So I'm walking and I'm talking. I'm walking and I'm talking, and I'm thinking, this is not going well. I just know it. I mean, it's like weird. I don't know if you ever memorize things. You can think two things at the same time.
Yeah. So our opening, I've had to pause the entire thing just to redo it. Yeah. I mean, I sit there and I have it in my head. I know exactly how I want to lay it out, but when it comes out of my mouth, it's gibberish, and it's like.
Right.
It's always like you know it by heart, but it's like you're thinking about the slight possibility of fucking it up.
Yeah,
every single time. Don't fuck it up, which is making you fuck it up.
Exactly.
It's hard to not think about it.
I'm walking and I'm talking, and I get down to the end, and as I get to the end, and I know the last two lines, I get down to the end, and as I'm saying the last two lines, and I say, I'm saying the last two lines, and I'm saying, and when I finish, he's going to say, Larry, you're fired. So, but what I had done, the sly person that I am, as I'm walking to the shoot, from my dressing room to the set, I'm firing myself.
Lower expectations.
You're setting the expectations so low.
Get the tension down. I know I'm going to improvise it, and I'm going to be fired. Calm down, Larry. It's okay. People get fired all the time. So he said, okay, I'm going to get fired. So I go, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, okay, Larry, great. Let's just do one more take just for insurance.
Oh no!
I had memorized the
whole thing that I just fucked up.
So now I don't have to worry. Now I can screw up. He's got it in the can. This is insurance. So I get down there. Now I'm very cool. I'm calm. I'm not cool. I'm calm. So I get down there, and just as he says, "You ready, Larry?" And I go, "Yeah." Now I'm jolly. I see the script lady walking towards me. The script lady is in charge of all the words in the script, right? Yep. So she's coming with the script and a pencil. And I know from being in this situation, yeah, she's going to tell me I left out this word, I left out this sentence. So I can just do a line reading or a word reading. You know, I can just, and they'll drop it in. That's no sweat. So I say, okay, what did I forget? And she shows me the page, and the entire page is circled, man. I had never seen a page like it. Every word is circled. And she says, well, yeah. So I said, yeah, but I got the gist of it.
Wow.
She says, no, the director wants you to say it verbatim.
Oof.
And she said it like that, verbatim. And I said, oh, okay. And then the director yells, Larry, is anything wrong?
You're like, absolutely.
No, it's okay. It's fine.
So what you're saying is that was a very polite, hey, let's do that again.
Hey, yeah, don't fuck it up.
So he starts walking towards me. So now when two people have walked towards you, it's all over, man. So, but I had fired myself, so I was cool. You know?
You're prepared
ready
for
it.
He comes over to me, and he says, and then the cinematographer yells, aren't you going to stand by the camera? I was like, Jesus Christ, man, just fire me. Let me get out.
I could get Chick-fil-A
I just want to go home and watch TV.
Yeah. So he yells back, no, I'm gonna walk with my actor. And I go, oh no, man, this is like kindergarten now.
Let me walk you through the motions here. You're going to take 5 steps. You're going to stop. You're going to say this.
So he says, and he turns to me and he says, do you mind if I walk with you with the script? And I go, no, I don't care. You know, it's fine. So, you know, I'm fired. I'm out of there. My mind is gone. And so he goes, okay, let's go. All right. And action, Larry. So I do the exact same thing. I'm walking and I'm talking. Don't stutter. Don't fuck up. I'm fired. Keep on walking. And I walk and I walk and I walk and I walk. And I get to the end and he goes, okay, Larry, thank you very much. Larry's wrapped. That's great, Larry. Thank you very much.
Larry's wrapped.
They drive away. Boom. Okay, I'm still answering your question. Okay, so I have to wait. I called production and I said, when I get home, I called production and I say, when is this episode going to air? And they say, in 2 weeks. I said, okay. So I call all my friends and I say, watch the episode. I'm going to quiz you on it. They said, okay. So I watch the episode, I wait 2 weeks on tenterhooks, and I watch it. Now, here's the answer to your question, and which is really the name of my friend's production company. He has a film production company. The name of the production company is Movies is Magic Productions. And that's why, and here's why. When I watched it, I am in that scene, the scene that you guys loved so much. I am in that scene exactly 9 seconds. If you watch it, what they did, he knew I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. From the third line out of my mouth the first time I did it. He knew, because I asked the script lady. I said, you know, I asked, because when she said, no, he wants you to do it again, I said, I want to talk to Vince Gilligan, you know, to tell him.
Right.
Yeah. And she said, Vince isn't here. And I said, well, and I want to talk to the writer.
Yeah.
And she said, the director wrote it. So the director knew I was making it up all along, both times. What he did was, and if you watch that scene again, it was brilliant. It was kind of what I said to him. What he did was he took my speeches, both speeches, and he edited them together as a voiceover. That's what you guys saw.
He overdubbed it.
He put together the correct things that I said, or things that I said that were correct, that weren't in the script. He put it together, and every time I said something 3 times right, he cut to my face. It takes 2.5 seconds to read one sentence, to say one sentence.
Wow.
I was cut to 3 times, 3 seconds each. So if you look at the movie, check it out.
So do they
I'm
have?
not in that scene at all,
Do they-
except for not.
So did they have so I take it somebody had to overdub, assumedly, right? In a
Somebody
sense?
had to what?
Overdub, like over on your lines, or no? They
No,
actually
no,
cut
no.
everything
He
out?
just took
it's straight
exactly
Larry.
what I
Straight Larry
said.
the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Larry the whole time.
Okay.
He just edited it together. In other words, he did what I told him. Do
Oh,
it
fair
in
enough.
sections.
Fair
Only
enough.
it was
You were right the
audio,
whole
not
time.
video.
Well, either way, Larry,
Technically, you missed. You didn't miss the mark.
the culmination of both speeches combined was definitely one of the most high tension moments in that whole show.
100%
Great.
agree.
That was a
That
make or
I
break
credit to
moment
Vince
for.
Gilligan.
Yeah.
That's Vince Gilligan, the editor, and that director who understood this guy doesn't know what he's doing, but I can fix it, and he's giving me the tools to do that.
Yeah.
That was, in other words, there was a bunch of people made you feel that tension.
And if
Yeah.
I'm
It
not
wasn't
mistaken, that wasn't your last part in the show. I mean, you came later on the last
El
season when
Camino
Walter and Jesse pulled the heist at the police station with the truck, the magnet truck.
Okay,
Oh, yeah,
right.
yeah.
Well, this is real short. I'll just cut to the chase.
For sure.
In the magnet scene is what you're talking about.
Yes. Yeah.
When the magnets, how did that work? Okay, I did the magnet scene. Yeah, in the magnet scene, I walk around the truck.
Yep.
Right with
Yeah.
that thing, and I'm looking for the police signal thing.
Yeah, you've got
Walking,
the
and I'm walking
controller.
and talking.
Yeah.
And what I couldn't memorize that either. And so he said this time Vince was directing. And what Vince said was I walked around once and I was going up on my lines. So Vince said, okay, Larry, all right, everybody take 10 minutes. Larry, just go off and memorize your lines.
Yeah.
I want to talk to the cinematographer in the TV village. So I took off 10 minutes and he discussed, I don't know what he discussed. I think he was just giving me 10 minutes to memorize my lines. Right. And I went off, I memorized my lines and I came back and he said, you got them down? I go, yeah. And he goes, okay, shoot it. And if you notice, I did it 3 times, just for coverage.
Yeah.
You know, because we had 3 cameras going. So I did it 3 times. Each time was cool. You know, I memorized my lines. But on the 3rd time, I tripped. Walking around, I tripped over something.
Oh, wow.
That was the cut that he used.
Of
if you look at the
course.
movie, I'm walking around and I tripped.
They're like, yeah,
And
look at
that-
Larry eating shit.
Did you have something to say about that later on after it was finished?
No, he just said great. And then when he did, what was it? El Camino. No, when he did the lawyer thing.
Okay.
Don't-
Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul. Yep.
If you'll notice, I'm not in that. And
Fair
the
enough.
reason is that I went up the first time with the Winnebago, which I just told you about.
Yep.
Yes.
But Vince knew about that. I mean, he was told that's why they edited it that way. And then when he was directing, then I think he was directing the one where I walk around. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
That's El Camino, right?
Yeah. That's El
Yeah,
Camino.
that's okay.
Yep.
That's El
There's
Camino.
in other words, here's what I'm trying to say. I was in 2 episodes. In both episodes, I went up on my lines. So when he started to do, because he likes to write long speeches for actors he likes, and he liked
Crazy.
my acting, so he would always write. But after 2, he was fed up, with me forgetting my lines. So I'm not in Better Call Saul at all.
Better Call
Because of
Saul
that.
is okay
Because of
compared to Breaking
And-
Bad. I'm just
Well,
saying.
also Better Call
But-
Saul is kind of in a different timeline from Breaking Bad. It's
No,
about-
But it was the different. He uses the actors from the episode.
Yeah.
Right,
Better-
of course.
yeah.
They go through that whole
So
thing.
when
Hey,
he
the
started
show's not
filming,
over yet. You could still be in it,
when he
Larry.
started filming El Camino, I wasn't in it at all. But the fans and the other actors kept on saying, you got to get old Joe in this, man.
Yeah.
So it was Vox Populi that got me into that movie.
Hey, let me just be the first to say I love your small but awesome role in that movie where you literally you found out the car was bugged and you got the fuck out of there because you showed up and you were like, yeah, I can help you out. I have no problem taking care of you. You know, Jesse, you're my boy. And then you just literally, as soon as you found out the car was bugged, you're like, nope, see ya, you're on your own.
Yeah.
See ya.
Yeah. And that's
I'm not
exactly
getting
how
involved with
everybody would
this.
feel on that.
When I got out of the truck to walk, I get out of the truck and I walk up the alley, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I get out of the truck. I say hello to Aaron, and I go, Vince told me, he said, when you get out of the truck, don't just greet him. You know, you're like a father figure to him. So, you know, give him a slap on the face. You know, hey, how you doing? You know, boom, boom. So I go, okay, fine, great. And I said to Aaron, I said, Vince wants me to, you know, give you a, you know, slap on the face, you know. So he said, okay, fine. So I get out of the truck and I slap him, you know. But I didn't want to hurt him. I mean, these two guys, Aaron is a star. He's the star of the thing. So I didn't want to hit him hard. No. So I just tapped him. So Vince comes over and he said, no. I mean, you're friends with him.
Slap the shit out of him.
I was going to say, you guys have a pretty deep relationship.
I got out of the truck and I go, bam! And Aaron goes, what the fuck, man?
I was say Aaron or Jesse
Vince
was in a pretty fragile state at that point too.
Yeah, but that's the but you'll notice it's the one that he used.
Yeah.
So it's in.
Yeah.
Shoot. Sorry to jump topic. Of course, we have a guy. I have the craziest question for you. All right, Larry. You're gonna hate me for this, or you're gonna love me for this.
Great.
All
Hopefully
right.
love.
Pain and Gain. That movie. Now
What?
here, Pain and Gain with The
Pain and
Rock
Gain, yeah.
and Mark Wahlberg. Now, this is the stupidest question, and I'm sorry, but so many people told me to ask you this question.
We need to know.
All right, is The Rock like super oily in person, or is it just like is it something? I know this sounds crazy. Is he oily like when you slapped him on the side? Did you like slip off the first time? Like, or is he actually like fully muscular? I know. I'm sorry, but everybody's asking
What
that.
kind of friends do you have?
Weird
The
ones.
wrong friends. You know what, Larry? The wrong
Is he
friends.
oily?
I think Dan's friends are paying too much attention.
I
to this
know. I'm
movie
serious.
Right
It's a problem.
He's bumpy, is what he is.
Bumpy.
now. Oh yeah, I can
Now
see
that's
that.
a good
I
question.
can
The
see
Rock.
that.
I mean, no,
That's
he's just ordinary. The Rock is an ordinary human being, and I say that to dispel any kind of stardom. He's just a guy, man.
Yeah.
He's just the nicest guy. If he wasn't in that hulking thing,
that body of his that he.
It's almost like he's a guy
But
trapped
he's
in a
the nice
muscular
guy.
body.
He's a regular guy. It's just that he eats all day long, and not much, but he's always nibbling on
Something. Yeah, like the Rock diet is crazy.
You're on
I
set
think
with
his
Dwayne the Rock
metabolism.
Johnson.
He
He's
wants
just-
to keep his metabolism going.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He's a great guy. He's a great guy.
So he was like, I mean, working with The Rock, I assume, obviously Dwayne Johnson, but obviously you're saying very sweet guy, very, very, very nice guy to
But
work
not
with.
oily.
But
Sweet
not oily.
and
Definitely
not
not
oily.
oily.
Okay, good. Then we answered the question.
For our
but he's a
listeners
very
here,
sweet guy.
for our listeners here, we just want to let you know that
Rock is
Dwayne the
not
Rock
oily.
Johnson is not oily.
Fuck, I
in the
don't
least
care.
bit.
I don't care.
That is all
Yes,
camera
you do.
effects. It's all lighting.
CGI, a little bit of that.
So Larry, what was your for Friends? I mean, we had the reunion show.
Yeah,
and-
how was that when you went back there? Was it good to be back with the cast?
Well, luckily for me, I saw an arc because I was in 5 shows. I was in 5 shows, and they were stretched over 3 years. So I was in the first year, the second year, and the third year, randomly. And it was kind of, well, how can I? It was an education. The first year they were nobody. We were all nobodies. They were just actors who were starting a sitcom, and I was another actor. And then the second year, they were number one, and they were kind of full of themselves. And then the late in the third year, that was early third. The late in the third year, they had started buying houses. Yeah. So they were all about, oh, I closed escrow. Oh, I got a new garage. Oh, I got a new car. They were all talking about all the.
I'm super wealthy for being in this show.
So super wealthy, yeah. And I right away, and they all hung together. They
So
all
it was like a tight knit group. Tight knit group
You
between.
know, after each
between
shot,
everybody.
after each cut, and they would huddle up,
Yeah.
and talk to each other. So I didn't have anything to do with them. I don't know them. I don't care about them. I never watched the show.
My man. My man. So
who cares?
I understand that you're an artist now. You're an artist.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I would
I saw
the
the
artwork in
in
the
the back, too,
background
as well.
I'm just
That's
saying
my-
I
I'm
absolutely
liking
love
it.
the one on your right shoulder.
Maybe you're right. Yep.
You're right with the H and the blue mark. I absolutely
The blue mark. You got to be more. You got to be more intelligible.
Yes, the
with
one
that.
where his from our sitting point right now, his finger right there, is that hell? What does that say across? I see the H and I see the L at the very.
Help!
Yes,
help.
So
Backwards. It's backwards on my screen, but it says help, and it's called. That's a hood in the hood in the hood.
Hood in the hood in the hood. So I absolutely
see.
love
The guy walking,
this
yeah.
artwork. How long have you been doing art?
Really? Okay.
Oh, well, all my life, I wanted to be an artist. I never wanted to be an actor.
Yeah.
I'm a stand-up comedian and an artist. That's it. If you go to my website, thereallarryhankin.com, you can see I got 40 or 50 of my art there. They're all, most of it's on T-shirts too. These are salon prints. They're like museum prints, but they're on T-shirts. These are on T-shirts, and the rest of the 40, some of them are on T-shirts. You can order T-shirts.
So wait, I can get the help shirt on LarryHankin.com.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I have two.
I'm gonna buy one. I'm just saying
Yeah, I'm
because
gonna buy one,
honestly,
too. I'm
that is
really
a
liking
sick idea.
So
I did. Well, I got it in the other room. Yeah, that one is the most popular, and then I have an elephant, just an elephant. I painted an elephant.
I call dibs on that.
They're prints, but I have a print of an
Call dibs
elephant.
on that.
That's another popular one, and then the rest are.
So I have a quick question for you as well, Larry.
Okay. I'll give you a quick answer.
Hopefully, yeah, real quick. All right, we got 30 seconds. Okay, quick.
Fuck
So
him.
as a comedian as well, I know like a lot of. I mean, I've seen a lot of like podcasts as well for comedians that are in the business as well. Being a comedian and performing in front of people, how stressful is that? Especially when you're first starting out as a comedian.
Point.
Like the heckling and everything else. It's like, is it stressful? And it comes from a point of like learning as well.
It was stressful once I became professional. I was opening for like Kingston Trio and Miles Davis.
Holy
wow.
shit!
Wow.
I
Those
did
are
like
big
all
name acts there.
clubs, the Playboy clubs.
Yep.
Those are the most stressful randomly.
Yeah.
Not in the beginning at all, because I started in Greenwich Village in coffee houses, and you get like it's open mic nights.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So in open mic nights, you get 5 minutes, and the open mic nights audiences are the best audience in the world, because they're not there to be entertained. They're there to see their friend get up on stage.
Yep.
So
Okay.
they will not boo you or heckle you, because you'll just come off the stage and heckle their friend. So
Right, absolutely.
is that where you tried new jokes? I mean, new material throughout your entire career. I mean, like you have the open nights. You're not expecting a boo. Is that where you practiced?
Well, that's where most comedians do it. I became an actor early on, but what happens is the process is you get up, you do your 5 minutes, your 3 minutes, and you work it out. You test new material. I just would talk. I don't write jokes.
Right.
So I would just talk, but I get up the next night, or what you do is you go the rounds. You go to this coffee house, then you go to that coffee house, and then you come back.
Yeah.
So, you sign up in each coffee place later. And
All in
by
one
the
night?
midnight, you come back to the first place. So you do like 5 or 6 sets a night.
Holy
For
shit!
Wow. That's
shit!
a lot. That is a
So
lot.
that's in Greenwich Village, because Greenwich Village is just 10 blocks. So you can just do it. If you're out on the road, no, you can't.
No.
You have,
No,
so
10
here's
shows a night?
Here's
Holy
what
fuck.
I did. So you work out your 5 minutes. You remember the jokes that the laughs you got, you put that in, and then what you do is you start off the first 2 minutes with the new stuff, and you save the last 3 minutes for the laughs that you got last night, and then you just move them up, and you just keep going like that. So, and then you save them. So finally, all these you put together, and you got 20 minutes. That's what you go out on the road with. And then on the road, how you work it out is the first 2 minutes are new stuff, and then you just move it up. You got 20 minutes, so you got 2 minutes and 18 minutes, and then you got 2 minutes, 18 minutes, and then you got after
full
about
set,
what?
a full set.
6 times 2, 6 times 3,
Yeah.
and you got a new 18 minutes. So it's like that. You just move it up. And that's how you work it.
So
And that's great. So to the answer your question, no, the beginning, I am going after, I'm writing a book now on my life in show business.
What's
I'm
that book
finished
called?
being an actor. I can't take the tension of memorizing lines.
Yeah.
I'll work for friends if they give me I can memorize a whole speech on one page if you give me, a week to memorize it. But movies don't work that way.
Right.
Get down there right now.
Write down.
Quotas.
You need that phrase
moving fast,
exactly how
you're
that
here,
director
you're
pictured
now.
you saying this, and then you need to be perfect on that spot. That's a lot of stress, man. And now you're developing. You're developing, content. What is the name of what you're working on right now? I would love to watch it.
I don't name anything that I write until I finish writing it, because I want to read it to see what I wrote, so I can name it. In other words,
That's 100% fair.
I don't write to a name. I name what I wrote. So I'm writing about the time that I was in high school. The time I was in high school all the way through to say about 4 years ago, when I got out of. I don't act anymore, except for friends.
Right.
I write now. So when I'm finished writing, I'm writing about all the movies that I made. What happened on the set. They're like the stories that I just told you about Clint Eastwood, about this or about that.
Bad and all that.
And then what I want to do is go back on the road as a stand-up comedian and use all the material that I wrote in the book. And I have another book that's already out there called The Loopholes Dossier. It's a book of satires. It's
from an outside perspective, I already love the name. Like, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. I think that is a fantastic
Loopholes Dossier.
I think that is a fantastic name.
It's got a bite to it, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Well, I wrote it for you guys. It's not popular because I designed the book cover, and it's a bad book cover, and I named the book, and it's not a catchy name, but the contents are really funny. It's a satire. It's a satire on fables. I got 7 fables that are satires, and then I got The Loopholes Dossier is the name of a political satire about a president who gets kicked out of office, and then his life after that.
Yeah.
And then the last one is how to be homeless. It's
How to be homeless.
which I'm good. That's the one I want to take on the road.
Yeah.
It's really great because I was homeless for like a year.
Really?
So I got all the ins and outs of how to be homeless.
Which part of your life was that on? Like, which part of your life?
When I was in the committee, so that was right before I came to Hollywood, before I became a movie actor.
Oh, wow.
I was in Second City and then the committee. While I was in the committee, I was living on a houseboat, which is it wasn't a houseboat. It was a landing barge. On Omaha Beach, when the thing comes down and all the soldiers come out and they're mowed down by the Germans.
Yep.
Go with that boat. I was living on that boat.
Wow.
Somebody had whitewashed the inside, just like a landing barge at Omaha, and they built a roof on it.
If you don't mind me asking, how long were you
wood
living
sides, wood roof, and they cut out windows. And I lived in there for $150 a month, and I left for 2 months and didn't pay the rent because I didn't know the address of a boat in the bay.
How do you figure that out? How do you figure out where
and
you
I would
are?
row in and pay the owner who lived on the dock. So I would just row in, pay him in cash, pay her in cash, and row back out. So there was no address. It was a junkyard. I was living in a junkyard. I was living offshore of a junkyard, but the boats there was 10 boats out in the bay, $150 a month with a wire to the dock that was your electricity. You
That
know,
honestly
for a lamp.
doesn't sound too bad.
It doesn't sound like the worst situation, honestly. Like it sounds kind of like the life.
Man? You wake up in the morning and you hear your name, hey Larry, and you look out your window and your friends are outside swimming, wanting you to join them. I mean, that's great, man.
I would love
as a person that grew up in the Midwest where oceans are not abundant. That would actually be really interesting and fun.
I tell you what, the great thing about living on that boat, that particular scow, that landing barge was I was in the committee, so I was working at night, and I had a motorcycle. No, I didn't have a motorcycle. I had a Volkswagen bus. You know, those old
wood panel, everything.
Green one, the classic green bus.
I'm actually a Volkswagen technician.
I worked in the committee, and what I would do is, every once in a while, I would take home a girl, a woman, a lady, a female from the audience. Hey, you want to go to my house? I live on a boat. Oh yeah, that would be cool.
Let's do it.
So interested to her. Yeah.
Let's do it. They either followed me in their car or they rode with me, and blah blah blah. And I would pull up, and then I'd say, and I would be pulling into a junkyard, and then they would go, "Where are we going?"
Whoa, am I about to be murdered right now? Or
and first of all, my going to work clothes is jeans and a t-shirt, and a jacket.
Yeah,
that's how you go to work, and you change, and you go on stage. It's improv. But the girls coming to they get dressed up, black dress, pearls, hair done.
9.
So now I'm driving into a junkyard with this, pearls.
And their mindset changes.
So you have this fine dime in front of the seat, and you pull up into a junkyard, and they're like, "What's this?" And you're like, "This is home."
Well, but that's not home. I'm not. I'm going into a junkyard. I'm not home yet.
We're at the water.
We're driving through, and we're not finished.
Feel like
so
by
they're
your
getting
mailbox
more
right
and more weirded out. And then I pull up to the dock, and I get to a rowboat, and I say, "Get in the rowboat." Where are we going?
That would do it for me.
Out to that boat out there.
That's a whole.
Really?
I just gotta say, that is for the woman involved, that is a whole other point of no return. It's like, do I get in the boat or not?
Exactly. And
do I get in this boat and help row or not? Like, what is the end of this journey?
Every once in a while, now I got to tell you that though that's the situation, you're going through a junkyard, she's all dressed up, and I'm da-da-da. So they're tense, okay, and you can tell they're tense, and I know they're tense, and I know they're going to be tense. I know the situation, so I'm trying to be calm and kind and tell them what the scene. No, it's okay. I'm okay. You've seen me on the stage. I'm a professional. So most of the time it's fine. They get in the rowboat, but now I'm rowing out. It's not a fancy rowboat. It's a old park lake rowboat.
So we have the 2 dowels right here, and we're sitting there. We're pumping through this. I mean, that's pretty much what we're doing.
Hey, I just gotta ask real quick.
I'm rowing out, and you could tell as I get near the boat, the tension starts to build up again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, once. Okay, and then they get on board and they see it's
a legitimate thing. Yeah.
But every once in a while there is I didn't do it too many times, man, but once in a while a woman, a girl would freak out. I mean, you could
oh yeah.
So
no,
did you ever
turn around? Let's go back. I don't want to do this.
I'm not feeling safe.
Was there ever a moment in your night where you're checking out a fine dame at a club, doing your stand-up comedy, and you're like, just in the middle of your set earlier, just whenever, just thinking in your head like, how am I going to get her in the rowboat? Yes. But how am I going to get her in the boat?
That's coming over the bridge. Coming over
Okay,
the bridge.
okay.
Yeah, that's the first thing. Okay, now what's the speed? Well, I had it down. By the time it started to bother me, I had to pat her down.
Yeah.
No, I got you, man.
Yeah.
Understandable.
I'm not hating on the game at all. I
Dude,
appreciate
no.
it.
I
love
respect
it.
the fuck
I
out
love
of
it.
you, dude.
Strong
I
game.
respect the fuck out
That
of you.
rowboat game. Damn.
It was incredible. It was. I mean, yeah, that was the most. I don't know. It's a highlight of my life. The rowboat, the rowboat thing is. It's just great.
Storytelling for the rest of your life, basically, with that one.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, those are definitely some memorable moments for sure.
You think
And
you
then
had
I'm sure the stories they told once they got back to their girlfriends was amazing.
I met this guy at a club, and then he made me get on a boat, and we rowed to the ship where he lived. It was amazing.
Dude, man. Honestly, that is something that I wish I could live. Like, honestly, just a boat off of sea.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I just thought- I just like
Absolutely.
throwing
I
it
wish
out.
I could live off of land, honestly. To know what it's like to be just free. Just free.
You could see how much we hate living in Iowa here. I'm telling you.
Honestly.
Oh yeah,
Larry,
It's
don't come to
definitely-
Iowa.
No,
we
come-
love you. We
come to
respect you.
Iowa.
Don't come to Iowa.
it's
to
definitely
Butte.
Don't do
not
it.
the most.
Not a good
Well, I don't think
Good
there's
space.
any safe place anymore. I mean,
no.
You're not
I've
wrong.
My
had
man.
conversations with people about where are you going to move to
Yeah.
when the shit hits the fan. There's not many places. There's a couple where rich people go. There's an island, some of the Aleutians, I think, or someplace. But there isn't. I mean, I don't know what the shit is going to be, but it's going to hit the fan.
At some
Whatever it is, it's
Yeah.
going to come down.
One
And
side
then
is
you're going to go, well, maybe Ohio is pretty good. Maybe New York's not so.
Larry,
Maybe
you have my
Florida.
number. If you ever need to come to Iowa, come on through, brother.
Listen,
I got
man.
a
If you come to
whole
Dubuque,
huge ass
Iowa,
house.
The basement will occasionally flood, but we'll keep it nice for you. We'll keep you.
I don't even know what
floaty
he's
down there.
talking about, but you
Well,
have a whole
wait a
home.
minute. You don't have to worry about the climate change of the ocean. See, I
Very
live
true.
I live 2 blocks from the beach,
I was
Yep.
gonna
so
say
I got to worry about the water
you have to worry
Come
about
on.
earthquakes too in California. They're very
and
prominent.
earthquakes and fire.
Yeah,
I
they're
mean,
very prominent
like I
over
say,
there.
it's not like it's not all.
Earthquakes,
Beer and
fires,
punch.
and millennials.
Have you
I'm
been
telling
in
you.
an earthquake yet over there?
An earthquake?
Have you been in an earthquake over there on California?
The earthquakes have stopped, but when I first moved here, yeah, in the 80s. The 80s I was in 2 major earthquakes. Yeah, it's
Damn.
scary, man. And I lived in an apartment house, and there was an elevator on the outside. The elevator was on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the earthquake was so bad that the elevator just fell off the building. That's how
Just
bad it
straight up fell off.
Jesus
Oh
Christ.
shit!
Well,
And,
you're like,
and
I'm
I
taking
had a
the
fish
stairs.
tank. I had a 60-gallon fish tank.
That is a massive fish tank.
You weren't messing around.
And the fish tank was a couple of feet behind the couch. The couch faced in the old days, they had, a TV sectional. It was kind of a bookcase that you had your TV set in it.
We have
books and a shelf.
like the it's like a fireplace, and then you have like the bookshelves on the side.
Yeah, it was a one-piece
Yeah.
piece of furniture.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was against the wall. The couch faced that because there was a TV set in it. And then behind it, about 4 feet, was a 60-gallon fish tank full of fish,
big.
Okay, so the earthquake hit in the middle of the night with just a jolt. Just
Yep.
bam! And my friend was sleeping on the couch. And there was nothing, it goes bam, and then a shaking started as the earth started to,
Separate.
go like this.
As it does, right?
Doing things
Yeah.
naturally, of course.
So I was in my bed in the bedroom, and my bed was shaking around the room. It was just going like
Yeah, fucking wind up
and
toy.
I was riding my bed, and I'm going, whoa!
You're like,
And then it stopped. And so I immediately said, "Hey, who was sleeping in the other Howard? Howard, are you okay? I hear, and he goes, yeah, but I nearly died. Thank God for your cat. I had a cat. I walked into the living room, what was left of it. It was a mess. But Howard was standing up, and he had the cat. But what had happened was, and this because he was staying there for like 2 or 3 days, so this was like the third day. The cat would sleep on his chest because the cat would sleep on the couch. So he was sleeping on the couch, so the couch would sleep on his chest, and he didn't mind it. It's fine. It was a kitten. Okay. So when he said, when the earthquake, that big jolt, about a second before the jolt hit, the cat woke up and dug its claws into his chest.
Oh,
that's one hell of an alarm clock.
Well, thank God, because he woke up with such a, he jumped out of the couch, and the fish tank and the television settee or whatever it was blew up and crashed on the couch. He would have been crushed, man.
Wow.
The tank was, the glass was all over the couch, and all the books in the shelf was leaning on the couch.
Thank God for the kitty.
I was gonna say.
So the cat saved his life.
Now you're missing the houseboat at that point.
We had to get out of the building because, apartment houses, maybe nowadays, but then they have water tanks on the top of the roof.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that water tank exploded, and the water poured down the
complex,
the stairways, the escapes, the emergency stairways.
Damn.
So we had to go down because you couldn't use the elevator; it was gone, man. So we had to walk down the stairways, and the stairways was like a waterfall coming down, and people were trapped. Oh, and I got to just tell you this: there was an atrium. The building had an atrium. You know what an atrium is?
It's like kind of like a lookout area.
It's a center. The building is built around.
Yep.
And the center is just bare.
Hollow,
so
and it goes to
the
the sky. Yep.
There's a bare square. Okay. Well, the people on the first floor have open windows, door windows, like that.
Yep.
Out into the atrium, so you can put the sun comes down, you can put a chair out there and sit in the sun or talk or go across to your other neighbor. Well, the building caved in.
Oh
shit.
So all the doors on the first floor, including out that way and out to the hallway, were smashed down.
Yep.
So nobody could get out of their apartments. They couldn't open the door because it was smashed down from the floor above.
So how'd they get
out?
They
couldn't get out to the atrium because there's no way to get out of the building if it caves in. And so I think what happened was they broke the glass of the window into the atrium, and there was an alleyway, I guess, for garbage and stuff or something, and they just escaped in time. But the building was destroyed. So yes, I've been in earthquakes. But not since the 80s I've been in one.
That's nice.
So I've honestly wanted to refrain from talking about this because I'm sure you hear a lot about it. Like Billy Madison, you are crazy Carl. I want to hear the crazy Carl Eric laugh. Do you remember it?
Crazy Carl Eric laugh. What?
Can I get the weasel laugh? I want the weasel.
He's looking at you like you're crazy.
Like, no, he's not doing it, dude.
He's like, nah, exactly.
So what was it?
Why do we hire him?
What was it like on Billy Madison?
I know he hired me.
You were the.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm taking the air out of all.
No. You're fine. No, okay. You're fine.
I don't do that. I just don't do that.
Exactly.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I will just say without a doubt that you are the saving grace of Billy Madison. You were kind of the like anti-hero.
You were the saving grace of that movie. I mean,
you were the chaotic good person of that movie.
If we had Adam Sandler take that fucking role, it would have been a fucking shit show. You
massive shit
saved the
company,
hotel.
the Madison Hotel chain.
You saved
in the company. You were in control of it at the end.
Honestly,
I'm not into Adam Sandler's humor at
Yeah.
all is too
I'm
childish.
the same way.
to
Like,
me.
I can't do
But
it.
but he owns Hollywood. Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
You gotta go
Fuck
through
that.
Adam
Fuck
Sandler.
that.
He
He's
does.
he's definitely made a name for himself. He's stood out on his own exhibition.
But he's an actor. He's a good actor.
Yeah.
A good actor.
He's a
If you
great
see his
actor.
serious roles. He's a very good actor.
I think I mean for me these guys love
Uncut
Adam Sandler,
Gems.
but I
Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems, and then I actually really did like Punch Drunk Love.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good.
any serious role. He's fine,
Yeah.
man. It's just his humor.
Yeah.
So he,
I was never I was never a fan.
Exact. That's
Yeah.
what I'm fucking talking.
So he is a very strong method actor, and I'm not gonna say this podcast doesn't appreciate method actors because Jim Carrey's a fucking thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, and it's. I mean,
He definitely had a persona that he would take on acting in the early '90s, to where he kind of
Yeah.
stuck to a character more or less that had a lot of
we're
elements.
also looking at it as an audience perspective, and audience perspective. And first of all, like Adam Sandler, and it was kind of something I skipped over. Adam Sandler and Everybody Loves Step Bros, the guy from Step Bros.
Will Ferrell.
Yeah,
Will Ferrell.
I just those two. Not
Can't do
that
it.
I think they're bad.
Will
I just
Ferrell?
never the biggest fan
Man,
of the
he
two.
is amazing.
Will Ferrell
I'm
is
terrible
love
'cause
you
I'm not
already.
These guys love you.
Sugar
I'm not a huge
some
fan
more
of
onto us.
Adam. I mean, I like certain works from Adam Sandler and Will Ferrell, but a lot of their stuff that everybody like quotes and everything was never really my thing. I just like I never really enjoyed it. I don't know.
I think we're better friends.
It's
now,
it's
man.
it's fine. It's all a matter of taste. A lot of people don't like me. I mean, who cares? You know?
Well, I'll be
Who
the first to
cares?
say that
It's
everybody
just-
here likes you.
Oh
Larry.
yeah, all
Crazy
four of us.
Carl, we are here for
Yeah.
you, Charlie Butts, dude. You are our
Hell yeah.
man.
No, I
man.
mean I was watching. Have you guys ever heard of? There's a new comedian out nowadays. I'm a big fan of it. Called Drew Michael. He's on
I have
HBO.
not, actually.
Name sounds
No.
familiar.
I have not, no.
I can't really put a face.
He's new.
or a
He's
joke
new.
to that.
I've never heard of him before. I just picked up on him this week, but he's really cool. But just to the point we're talking about, he started to diss the late night guy,
Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy
Fallon.
Yeah.
He just ripped Jimmy Fallon a new asshole.
Yeah.
And
that's pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
I thought, wow, how unfair of Drew Michael to do that. I don't like Jimmy Fallon either, but he did it so well. Like, oh yeah, man, go for it. In other words, humor to me, it's not who you're attacking; it's how you're attacking.
Yeah.
That's
Of
all.
course, yeah.
Approach
Because
is
if it's an
everything.
intelligent attack of your favorite comedian or your favorite politician, if it's intelligent, I'll go along with it.
I think
I don't
one of the
judge
biggest
that way.
attacks on Jimmy Fallon has always been how like out of character he is.
Dude, he
in
looks
his
at the
roles.
screen the entire fucking time,
Looks at
man.
the
You guys are-
screen.
well, you
He's
guys are the
laughing
worst.
in between his lines.
And
Well,
this
he-
is
stuff like
we'll
that.
never
Like,
get
it's a-
Jimmy Fallon.
It's a very no. I'm serious. It's a very common trope of
Worth a
making
shot.
fun of him.
Worth the shot.
And I think he owns that in himself. Is that even Family Guy made a joke about it in like 2003. You know what I'm saying? Like where like the whole skit with him and Meg like having sex on
Yeah.
Saturday Night
Yeah.
Live or whatever. It's just
Yeah.
like he can't stay in character because he's too focused on the fact that he's being filmed.
We have somebody
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
We have
exactly.
somebody like you on the
He's,
air.
on, he's
who-
on all the time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Exactly.
say because we have
Who
somebody
needs
that
that?
No.
I can't stand that. I'm sorry. Like I was talking to a couple coworkers at nighttime, and they had no idea about the Man on the Moon. Man on the Moon with Jim Carrey. He was very on all the fucking time.
That was a very. There's a whole documentary about him.
Actually,
being
that's what I'm
a
talking
part
about.
of that movie. Is
Yeah.
him. It's who is it? Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman.
Oh,
and-
Literally,
and-
he
and
literally pretends the whole entire time through that production that
goes
he
to his
is
daughter
Andy
and-
Kaufman.
He goes to his daughter and acts like he's the father. I don't appreciate that kind of.
I
acting.
mean-
as much as it dives deep.
Well,
into that
we also
situation.
don't know the world. Like Larry, you obviously lived in that world as well, and it's like, I mean, from an out, of course, like I said, we're more audience perspectives. None of us are actors in any sense of the word at all.
Nowhere near it.
But I mean, the big thing too is like, if you're okay sharing it as well, like your thought on like, I mean, whenever somebody loses themselves in a role, I understand it's like it becomes your career, your work, you know what I mean? But like, I feel like certain times with method acting, it's just
too
being
much.
pretentious in a
Too
sense?
much.
Is that
It's too much.
is that what you feel? Have you ever dealt with method actors in that sense? And you don't have to give names,
Well,
obviously.
Okay, I'll give you a. Directly. When I was on Escape from Alcatraz, on the first day of work, I showed up and I said, "Take me to my cell," and I'd done some research about being in jail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm not an actor and I don't really do backstories, but I thought, okay, I'll give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
So I brought some equipment with me that prisoners might have. So my first day, I asked, where's my cell? Where's Charlie Butts' cell? They took me to it and they said, okay, I just want to sit here. Want to just check it out, get into the character. Okay. So what I brought was a couple of magazines. I brought National Geographics, about 3 National Geographics, and some pinups from calendar girl pinups. So I was cutting them out and brought scissors and tape. So I'm sitting in my cell, my first day. I just arrived and I go to my cell and I'm cutting out pictures and I'm pasting them on the wall. I'm all alone. They're shooting somewhere else, way far away. I'm all alone. I'm pasting them up. And I look up, and there's Clint Eastwood outside my cell, staring through the bars. And I don't know how long he was there. And I look, and I was
Arts and crafts going well.
He's just staring at me.
It's like,
and he
so
goes,
you're having fun.
"What are you
over
doing?"
There, huh?
And I go, "I'm cutting out pictures." Why? Well, I'm a prisoner. I'm playing Charlie Butts, and I'm gonna hang the pinups on the wall, just like prisoners.
Yeah.
You a method actor?
Oh,
Wait, are you saying that's what he asked you? He asked you for a method
yeah, that's
actor?
what he said. That's all he said. What are
Wow.
you doing? And are you a method actor? And I said, no, I'm just doing this.
Yeah.
I don't like method actors.
I don't like them
And he
either.
walked away. I thought,
Oh
man.
no!
Oh, shit.
Like method actors.
That's a very intimidating moment to be faced.
Yeah,
Like, you
man.
know,
I mean, the first
A-list
day,
actor.
and he's the star, and all my scenes are with him. I knew that. And I go, holy cow, how do I get out of this? I mean, I just, I'm an innocent kid, and I hadn't even started, and they said, and then another time I had another fallout with him, and I thought, oh man, that's 2. It just,
yeah.
So
2 right now.
Method actor. Here's what I think about method acting. It's very simple and very easy.
Yeah.
In the role, do you believe it or not? I don't give a fuck how you got there.
My man.
Yeah.
My man.
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
Some people I have been talking to actors where they're going, blah, blah, blah. We're talking, you're up next. Yeah, I know. Blah, 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 blah. Hey, you're in the scene. Blah, blah, blah. Boom, bam. And he just, boom, like that.
Punches it out, yeah.
Brian Cranston is like that. I'll be
Bryan
talking
Cranston?
to him, on the scene.
Really?
He just steps in the scene and he's there.
Dude,
Other
I mean,
people have to, I'm not a method actor. I just have to get quiet because my mind is going all the time. I just have to shut my
I
mind
understand
down.
exactly what you're saying right now.
So I cannot talk to you before I walk into a scene or an audition. So I sit there when I audition. I'm just quiet, and everybody else is talking to one another, and they think I'm weird. But this is what I got to do. I'm sorry.
You're thinking about your role. So from a dyslexic to another dyslexic, it is literally just us processing the fact that we have to say these words. It is a standpoint of how we interpret that character. I mean, honestly, I am a huge fan, and I am even a bigger fan because you're dyslexic. Because honestly, I am.
We're struggling together.
Well, hold on.
Dyslexics have a big following.
Thank you.
That they do.
But I lead this group. I lead this entire podcast. I've got 3 other shows, and I sit there, and it comes to me when it's like, hey, read this story, and it's like, fuck you guys. I'm gonna step outside and smoke for 5 seconds.
So it's like you're trusting the guy that mix up numbers and words to read this
You
whole
do what
story.
you have to do to do what you have to do.
And like I've got I don't want to say I have the most drive when it comes to Men of the Misfortune.
It's about power.
It's about power. It's about how much I trust these guys. And honestly, Larry, from this interview, I have never loved you as an actor more than before. Because
I am
honestly, because you are a role model now. You are a role model for me.
Gosh, you jump
just,
on
I'm
it
just
more.
so happy. I'm just so happy that I can share such an intimate moment with, an actor in many Hollywood film productions that I've shared such a fucking close, understanding with as far as, the characters and who they are. It's surreal, honestly.
I love this.
It's hard for me to fathom
this
that this is actually happening.
This is our biggest interview we've ever had.
Me being in my characters that you can't figure out how deep I go into.
No,
it doesn't matter.
I've understood the figures. I've understood the figures that you've been
question,
in.
Yeah. You just
like I said,
do it, if you
Escape from
thinking
Alcatraz, Crazy Carl, Breaking Bad. Those are the three biggest ones for me.
Yep.
And you've always just been the chaotic, good, neutral person.
Exactly.
There, you have been the ultimate support character through all of those things.
And even
frontman
too. Frontman as
something
well.
to be proud of.
In its own respective ways as well.
Honestly, when I see a movie with you in it, I honestly can't appreciate enough what you've put towards the industry. I mean, you yourself.
Okay, I'll take it. But
good.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was like,
take it because
ego
honestly,
boost for the day, guys. Gosh,
honestly,
all right.
take it. As the leader of this group, take it. We love you. We want to let you know we love
thank you very much.
Yeah,
I do my well. Here's the one thing I can say towards that is that my mantra is I just try to do my best if there's film in the camera.
Hey,
I just really
have done your best.
I want to do good work.
Larry,
I don't care if you like it or not. I want to do a good thing.
Larry, I just want to say, Larry, your best is enough.
Yeah.
And
It's all right though. I mean, at times.
Fuck you, Dan.
He was a little pitchy at that one part.
Well, Dan's fired.
Yeah,
Don't mind
I don't mind that.
He's all right.
Fuck this guy right here.
You have to take the good with the bad.
Of course.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
well, no, of course, nobody's perfect, and I think there's learning roles with everything. Jumping into things as well, I think you learn a lot, especially because when you started out, your first role. What was your first role? I can't. I mean, sometimes it's not even recorded.
We've definitely fought between the two of us on what was your first role.
Yeah, what is your first would you say is your first role that you really were like I want to do this? I would love to
acting is my
movie
gig.
role or what?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Or just general. Yeah, it could be Broadway as well.
It doesn't matter if it's acting, if it's just a small time hey, how you going? Or if it's actually an actual role. I mean, either way.
Yeah.
I mean, what is that thing that inspired you to become?
That's a good way to say it. It's something
who
that
you
inspired
are
you as
right
well.
Well, I do know this about myself, and I believe it. Everybody has it, but I learned it because I became aware of it because I was learning the guitar, and I noticed one thing about learning the guitar, and that is that the strumming was okay. It was the fingering of the chords. That's the hard part, getting the fingers on the right strings.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And to learn like A, E, B sevenths, in the beginning I would have to watch my fingers and place my fingers on the right strings. And then I noticed that the more I looked at my fingers to get the right placements, the harder or the longer it took me to learn. But if I just didn't pay any attention to my fingers, I could play A, E seventh. So I found out, wait, there's two me's. There's the conscious me, and there's the aware subconscious me. Yeah. The one where once you finally play the guitar, you don't look at your hands at all. What the fuck is that?
I could not.
In other words, you're not paying attention, and your hands are playing A, B seventh, E, and you're strumming, and you're looking out there. So I brought that to acting, and I said, there's two things going on. When I try to be undyslexic, to memorize, blah, blah, blah. But if I just lay it down and just relax and don't try is the enemy.
Yeah.
If I don't try and I just let it go in, and as long as it takes, but I've noticed that the more I relax and not rely on my consciousness, but on my subconscious, my unconscious, whatever you want to call it, that other thing that keeps my fingers hitting the right chords without
Like
muscle
muscle
at
memory.
it, helps me
Yep.
memorize lines. So there's two things going on, and I don't question it. To answer your question about the role, something in me, not my conscious mind, wants me to do it. And my conscious mind starts to take over where I get bored real fast and I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to do this.
Yep.
And I have to drop that.
Yeah.
The one particular one is Billy Madison. I didn't want to be there. I didn't like Adam. I didn't like the set.
Yeah.
I didn't like what the jokes were. So I just had to just relax and let it
Happen.
go.
Yeah.
And I was fine. But it was tough not
saying something.
Not liking Carl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like Carl.
Yeah.
I mean, consciously, I didn't like Carl. I didn't like what Billy Madison was using Carl for.
Would you say you had much of a voice as to how you wanted your character to be in that movie?
Or were you just kind of running through at that time?
Were you just kind of going through the motions?
Frankly, I just wanted to be in. I'll tell you, it's really hard, man, because you're getting down into subconscious drives.
Yeah.
I wanted to be in that movie because my best friend was directing that movie, and he got fired in the middle of it, and that's when
in the middle of it. I didn't even know that was a thing that happened with that movie.
Yeah, see, I wanted to be in it because I wanted to meet Adam Sandler because he was king of comedy, and I wanted to hand him a screenplay that I had written.
Yeah.
So I figured, let me in the movie. I didn't want to be Carl. I just wanted to be in the movie. Yeah. So that was my conscious drive. My friend, who was the director at the time, who hired me, said, you got to cut off your hair. Carl has short hair, and I wouldn't do it. So I said, you got to put me in a movie, and I don't want to cut my hair. The guy who sells, that shampoo stuff, he's got long hair. A lot of businessmen in those days had ponytails. I said, let me be a businessman with a ponytail. Carl has a ponytail. He said, no, cut your hair off or you're not in the movie. And I was saying, you have to put me in the movie. You're my best friend. That was my rule. You're my best friend, so you have to put me in the movie.
Yeah.
So he said, no, I'm your best friend, and I'm not putting you in the movie unless you cut your hair. And so I cut my hair, and then he gave me the role of Carl. So Carl had nothing to do with me being in the movie. I cut my hair. That's why I was in the movie. And then when I was doing Carl, now I'm in the movie, I have to like Carl. So that was a subconscious thing.
So
I just did what I thought Carl would be. And every time I was in a scene with Adam, like when he made me do that laugh, that was Adam making me do that laugh. I didn't
really.
do that.
You know what? Now I appreciate that even more. Honestly, if you're not going to do it because of Adam, that makes me appreciate you even more. Honestly.
Well, there's also like I did like a deep dive because I was trying to understand the I guess the world behind like Adam Sandler, the movies and everything else like that, and like he, in a sense, he is also like a co-producer of most of his movies.
He's the focal
nowadays.
point of the movie and how it turns out.
But it's so
Like,
childish.
He
Very
pushes
childish.
through a lot of movies, and if I'm not mistaken, now I heard this in an interview, and I don't know if this is true or this is slander.
So allegedly.
But basically, like a lot of like the movies, like after all of his like I guess the cult classics that people remember, a lot of the movies where he has like a lot of the same people in it, they're a lot of his friends, and he'd go to an island, spend a lot of money, do a lot of advertisements, and it would be a write-off, a tax write-off, because he would be able to have a movie with a bunch of his friends and write it off.
Yeah.
He's like saying, yeah, it's
So that is true.
so it is, and I heard that, and I didn't know if that was like a thing. And I mean, I guess respect for doing it in a sense, maybe.
No, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with me.
Yeah.
I'm giving you my opinion, and my opinion is based on critical thinking and things that help me or the world. I don't care about what his motivation is.
Me fucking either.
I don't get anything from his movies except when he does serious roles, and they're written for him, and they're written because they have content in the writing.
Yep.
And that's what he's doing. Adam Sandler, to me, has no content.
No,
There's
Thank
nothing.
you. Thank you.
I found out recently that,
Thank you.
my grandpa.
You guys said that you love all this stuff, though. Get out of here.
Now,
Wait
wait a
a minute.
minute.
Hang on a second. I
Hold
actually
on,
want to
hold on.
say,
Oh, yeah.
recently I found out, not even a few days ago, that a friend of my grandfather's, my grandfather is an iron worker union. He's the kind of guy that you see in the pictures building towers in Chicago and stuff like that through, like, the Great Depression, like the industrial age, stuff like that. He has a friend that is actually in the union. They used to be a writer for Adam Sandler. Like,
Really?
that's what he would
No
do
shit.
for Saturday Night Live. Is he was
Off SNL.
he was that guy that would write the jokes for Adam Sandler.
Rough. Well,
Yeah,
from what,
I was gonna say rough.
Yeah.
Rough.
Oh, wait. Let me clear up one thing. Okay. What's your name? The guy who just asked the
Riley.
question. Yeah, that guy.
Riley.
Raised-
Yeah, sorry.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Riley.
What's your name?
Riley Wallen. That is my name.
Riley.
Yep.
Riley with the green.
Oh,
card.
that's
shorts.
Daniel.
No, that's
Daniel.
Dan.
That, I'm
No,
sorry.
Daniel.
I'm
Yes.
Riley.
I'm talking to Daniel.
Yeah.
Okay. What made you have matching socks and cards on your microphone?
Oh,
God
Now, here's the
damn,
thing.
dude!
the thing.
Holy shit!
Right? Hold up. Now we're getting in the thick of it. Okay. All right. So I actually own an audio business, a professional audio business that runs sound around here. And first of all, I like to try to dress pretty well. Now, you see on these mics here, and obviously audio listeners in the time, they didn't know what we were doing. I told them not to get condenser mics. They got condenser mics. They had no pop filters. We threw on beer koozies. We got beer koozies, and they're matching my socks, and that just happened. That's really what
here's
happened.
my point.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my point. That's great or not great. I don't care.
Yeah.
I have no interest in whether your socks are green and that's green. as a point to make a point, and that is that because Adam Sandler has no content at all for me, doesn't matter that you like him.
I don't.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
you,
It
and I
doesn't.
have no qualms with you liking Adam Sandler.
I get it.
I have
good
no
to know.
qualms about
That's
you
great
being
to know.
king of comedy.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me. It's not for me.
Yep.
I totally understand.
I don't.
Oh, now
You
you,
know,
changed sides?
what's the
Okay.
matter?
I mean, I believe we all, most of us all usually live on a bias side. I'm more of the biased one where, of course, same like you as well. Like there's opinions of people where it's like, they like their stuff, they like it and they enjoy it. Great. That's amazing. For me, I like to pave the way in the sense of like being like, okay.
I'm just gonna say that I'm not the
I
kind of
can't
guy
jump
that's
on
gonna take a comedian
I don't like
and
it, I don't like
put
it.
him on a hill to die upon.
No.
Like, this is the greatest this is
But
the
I can
greatest comedy
appreciate
actor
why
of
people
all
like it.
time, and if you disagree with me, I don't fucking like you, and we have a problem. No,
Yeah.
that's not who I am.
Love you.
No, I didn't.
We
I wasn't
respect
saying
you guys.
anybody did.
Okay, yeah.
It's just I want to define me. Now, I'm
Yeah.
not talking about you guys.
Oh, no.
It's that you can't take what I say about what I like
Yeah.
and apply it to your like. Like if I say
No.
I don't like Adam Sandler, and then like, well, Larry doesn't like Adam Sandler, so I guess I better
You
not.
should-
No,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no.
From what your agent said, he said that you found him very hard to work with, and that he was annoying, and that you stayed in character too much, and that's it's definitely tropes that would kind of affect a judgment on somebody.
Absolutely.
But he's still. I mean,
like-
it was still a moment in time. I guarantee. For like Larry was saying as well. It was, regardless of all that, as well as a person working professionally, you're like, you know what? There's always going to be ups and downs with everything, and I feel like, working professionally in a business, you have to set yourself aside, set yourself apart from it, and you have to
Exactly.
respect what's going on,
Exactly.
and then push
Exactly.
through as a professional. You have to push through, and that's what Larry did the thing. You know what I mean?
He did it.
It's not like you guys are. How long have you been doing this?
11
A few months.
11
weeks.
Oh yeah, 11 weeks.
Few months.
Yeah.
All right, a few months, couple of weeks. Okay, some guys are doing podcasts for years.
Yeah.
But okay, you're doing a couple of months. The most I can work on a one job is 3 months. That was Alcatraz. 3 months, the longest gig I've ever had as an actor. I was in the committee for 10 years.
Yeah.
I was in Second City for 3 months. But because of I'm an actor and I go from job to job, and the longest I work is a week or maybe, a week, maybe 2 weeks. I have to go into every job knowing this is not the last job.
Yeah.
So I have to really not make judgments either beforehand or even while I'm there. I'm only going to be here 2 weeks, and then I got to change my head again for the next job.
But
So I can't be one of those didactic guys that has, certain things that got to be this way.
But it's also hard, like
to
sit there and deal with like somebody who isn't breaking character, and you're sitting there and you're on break time, and you're sitting there going, this is my time. This is my time to
like,
be
hey
me.
man, I just want to know if this spaghetti tastes good or not. You're like, oh, this spaghetti's so good. Oh, I don't know. Like,
and I can understand, understand how frustrating things could be. Like when it comes to something that it's like you are being as serious as humanly possible, and you've got this fucking jackass. And it's hard.
Well,
to,
then tell him he's a jackass and move or get him out of there. I mean, it's very simple.
Exactly.
But regardless, like the whole like spiel as well. Like, I mean, professionally, I've been doing audio actually, like truly professionally for like 3-4 years. I've dealt with people like Alice Cooper, Nelly. I've dealt with
there you go.
Mac Miller. I've done before I passed away. I dealt with very, very professional people and dealing with their teams and everything like as that. And of course, at the end of the day, I look at it as I know what I'm doing. I've worked to gain the position that I'm at, and I learn a lot from different people, and I just have to blend and apply. I know I'm bringing a skill to them that they need. Yeah. As an audio engineer, they need it. Therefore, seeing that there's people that have been awfully rude to me. I'm not going to give names or anything like that, but they've been terribly rude to us, right? But I still pushed through, and I knew I had to provide the service.
We are the men of misfortune.
Yeah, and I provided the service, and it went well, and then now I got a name, right? I still am doing audio professionally, and I'm working with huge artists, and that's great, but I think that's a big thing, too. It's same thing, I feel like, in the acting business and being in like Hollywood and everything like that, you have to just keep it pushing it forward.
It's almost like you're building your status quo. It's like, I work with Adam Sandler, Clint Eastwood,
I guess my motivation, now that, we're talking about this, I guess my motivation is I want to get the job because I want to pay my rent, and I don't want to get fired.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's
true.
Exactly.
It's true.
And then once I get there, I just want to do the best I can. So there's no bullshit or...
Yeah. God,
there's no
I like this guy a lot.
dive.
I really love Larry.
Not to kiss your ass, Larry, but as somebody...
You are our best interview we've ever
You're
fucking
just a genuine
had.
person.
As somebody that's on the outside of your acting career, you've always done the best. You have definitely killed every role that you've...
That's all I want to do, man. I just don't want to get fired. I want to do the best I can.
And
that's all.
And besides all that point of it all, like... and the thing, too, I think a lot of people have an issue separating, is... We're all people, right? Whether or not we do different things. You do acting professionally. You're a comedian professionally as well.
And I'm not oily.
Yeah, and you're not
and
oily.
Not
and
oily.
He's not oily.
You are not
oily.
Keep that down. He
All
won't slip up.
Keep that clear.
But basically, like, we're the thing. I think a lot of people kind of get desensitized to, or they separate is like. We're all humans. We all have something to provide, and not to mention, we're all just trying to make it in this world. Whether or not somebody's doing method acting, do this.
We can all find a common ground of just trying to exist.
Everybody's trying to be somebody, and they're also trying to make sure that they can live another day. Push forward and learn from their mistakes. And that's the thing too. Is like what's nice is it's a breath of fresh air, especially having you on here. I feel like. It's the best, first guest that we've had.
Honestly, you're the greatest thing that has ever happened in the show.
You're down to earth, and we can actually kind of delve deeply.
I
feel like there's a part of all of us here that can relate to you on a personal level, and that's really what we're about,
Because we're just ourselves. I mean, there's nothing that separates us. You know what I mean? It's not like all of a sudden I'm
I discovered a something about myself, which I've learned, I guess, over the years.
Tell us about it, man. Tell us about it.
Sure.
I step aside for I'm thinking of the word weirdness. I step aside for weirdness.
Yeah.
But it's not weirdness. It's hang-ups. Like I'll be walking down. Okay, this is an example. I don't know what you call it, but I'm walking down the street, and a couple are walking towards me. Now, there's a lot of scenarios. I've been walking down the sidewalk, and there's a couple. Well, the sidewalk is only big enough for two people.
You're right.
So one is they single file, and then I can go by, or I step aside, I go around them, and they don't step aside, or they step aside, and I can go by. My take is, my natural, instinctive, just tropism is, I'll step aside.
Yeah.
In other words, if your hang up is weird enough that you have to have the entire sidewalk and will not step aside for a fellow walker,
selfish.
I'll step aside.
Fuck
I don't,
you.
I don't,
My
that's
fucking
your
sidewalk.
problem. I don't need it.
No.
Whatever. It doesn't bother me to step aside. So in life, that's what I do. In other words, if you got some problem, I'll step aside and let your problem just go by.
Yeah.
I don't need, unless I'm confronted by it. But even then, my thing is to either duck or,
Like-
you know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying?
Well, I
It's-
mean,
I don't want to get involved.
No, well, the biggest thing too, as well as like, obviously bringing
That's
it
what
back.
it sounds like you were saying, that you get along, along to get along.
And not to mention too, as well as like, well, the biggest thing is knowing the battles that you need to pick and fight. You know what I mean? Especially when it's professionally, like when you're going forward with a career or whatnot. There's a lot of things that you're not expecting to happen that will happen, and you have to basically you have to like adapt to each of them.
It's a sense of direction.
I feel like that's and I feel like that's
a sense of direction where he needs to go,
Yeah,
and he understands where that direction is.
Because I mean, I like grew up knowing like the artists that I'm working with nowadays, and like I grew up with these guys. My parents showed me them. You know what I mean? And like dealing with them professionally is crazy to me. And there would be things that I never expected in my life, and that I would ever expect, like dealing with them, and things that I kind of expected. And I decided to push those expectations aside and do what I had to do. And if conflict came my way, I had to just adapt and evolve. And that's what I feel like, what, for me at least, like I felt like what was the whole point of it,
Well, there's certain gifts that you have also that we can't discuss because you're born with them.
Exactly.
In other words, a lot of stuff that you're talking about vis-a-vis me and in the profession of acting or making people laugh or whatever.
This whole podcast.
There's certain things that I can't explain to you about why I do certain things. They just that's Larry, and that's not Billy, or it's not Jake. It's just, and I don't question it, and I just I thank you for. I got to go, by the way.
We're pretty much
we want to
tail
thank
end
you.
here.
We want to thank you for honestly being on the show. Riley, if you have the last piece and go.
Last sign off bit here. I would just like to thank you for your time and your explanation of what it's like to be you on this show, and I couldn't be more thankful for it. You've definitely given me a lot of insight to things I've often wondered about behind the scenes, and you're an incredible person and an amazing actor, and I thank you for being here.
Larry, honestly, I could not thank you enough for being our first major interview. Honestly, as this being my child,
it's been a pleasure.
Honestly, we've got these three great guys in front of me.
Only.
Wow.
One of him.
What about Larry over here?
Larry,
he's the greatest guy.
Honestly, Larry, you have been the star of most of my favorite movies. I can't thank you enough for being a part of this. I love you, and honestly, thank you for being who you are.
And with that, we'd like to introduce our sign-offs here.
And thank you for having me on the show, man.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Before we do that as well, obviously, the biggest thing, I just want to quick shout out. Thank you, Larry, for being the first, of course, as we were saying. Obviously, we got here with us right now today. We got Tyler here, Tyler Campbell. We got Riley Wallen. We got Daniel Young. That's myself. And then we got Jake Paulson. Okay, fantastic. We got Larry Hankin, special guest for us. I really appreciate it as well.
Cannot thank
obviously,
you enough.
we are coming to the end. We learned a lot. We gained a lot of knowledge as well, especially for some things that we have no clue about. And
I honestly,
appreciate you
I've learned
enlightening us on
so
it.
much just from this conversation, Larry. Honestly, you've been the shiny beacon of this podcast, honestly.
I'm glad I cleared up a lot of stuff.
Yeah, no kidding.
Absolutely, yeah. You've definitely given us a dive into
Yeah.
the deep,
And then
more or less.
2 more things real quick. Larry, of course, you have the stage right now before we do our final sign-off. Is there anything you would like to promote? Any shows or things coming up?
Any kind of artworort that you've been working on. Honestly,
well, okay,
I already love your help. Like, I'm going to buy the shirt.
Oh, I'm buying that. Like, sign off, I'm buying that.
The reallarryhankin.com is my website.
Okay.
And Larry Hankin the real Larry Hankin, the real Larry Hankin.com. Right. Let me get this straight. LarryHankin.com is stolen by some other person who's
Do you
holding
want me to
me
beat
up
their
for
ass?
ransom.
Because I promise
It
you,
was
I'll
me.
get my guys, and we'll beat their ass right now, Larry.
So it's LarryHankin.com is my website, and there's my art, my films, my films, not major films, not your films,
Yeah. Sure.
but my own personal
Yep.
funny films is on there,
Insane.
plus a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
So go to LarryHankin.com, and I'm writing a book. So the book that's already on there that you can buy for you fans out there is the Loopholes Dossier, and it's on Amazon
Dossier.
too.
Please check it out. The
I'm writing a book.
Loopholes Dossier on Amazon.com.
And then
And I'm writing a new book, which is about my life in show business. Some of the stories I told the guys, and there's a whole bunch of others.
There's
title is
many
to be
listeners.
determined.
Coming up. What?
And the title of that is to be determined.
Oh,
To
the
be determined.
title is going to be determined. It's going to have
Yep.
Larry Hankin in the title.
Please,
Some-
whenever
somewhere in there,
whenever
yeah.
you get
Yes.
that, whenever you figure out the name, please send it.
Yeah, send it
send
to
me a
us if
text
you can.
message.
Keep
and
in
I will
mind, listeners-
always
Yeah, and I'll
promote
come
you.
back
Keep
on
in
and
mind,
we'll talk about
this
that.
guy
I'll
does
send you
not
the book,
submit
whatever.
titles before he's finished with his work.
is there anything else, Larry? You think you can?
No, that's
you
it.
say?
I got to go, guys. I
Oh
really
yeah,
gotta go.
absolutely. We appreciate you, and and we're at the end of the podcast. Remember to stay misfortunate, folks, and
Always listen to Mom.
always listen to Mom.
I am your fearless leader, Tyler Campbell.
I am your humble host, Riley Wallen.
And I'm Daniel Young, your resident audio engineer.
And I'm your reigning dipshit, Jake.
And we are here
I'm
with
Larry Hankin. Goodbye.
We are
Thank
here
you,
with Larry.
Larry.
Hankin.
Goodbye,
Love you.
Larry.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you for joining us. Remember, always listen to Mom.